Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. This is Courtney Rice, WWT's media and PR princess and hummingbird to AEW. You're probably guessing why I'm doing a post show. Well, last night was NXT, and also it collided with Title Tuesday on Dynamite. So I figured tonight I would do a special watch along of AEW Title Tuesday since everybody didn't get to watch the entire episode tonight. And I'm going to give you guys a post show. So I just finished watching AEW Title Tuesday. And it's the final Dynamite before they head into Wrestle Dream this weekend at Tacoma, Washington. So we kicked off, of course, with a promo of Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. They both had some final words to say to each other. I don't know about you guys, but this is going to be a really good match this weekend. I know a lot of people were kind of like bummed that Darby lost his title opportunity and all that stuff, but it does make sense for Moxley to go against Danielson because if you recall, the last time these two faced each other was before Blackpool Combat Club at Revolution in 2022. And Moxley won that match. So I'm anticipating round 2. They've been delivering promos, and this is going to be a very fun match. And I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I will share my thoughts in the main event later on. The next thing that we got to see is Darby Allin and Brody King promo. I actually did like that they added archive clips from their last previous meetings together because it really shows that they do have a rivalry that goes way deeper than in the ring. And also Darby Allin talked about some points where before they even signed before AEW, they actually knew each other in the independent scene. And of course, if you know Darby's story, he was homeless, trying to make a mark in the wrestling world. And also with Brody as well, because at that time he was married and he was getting ready for the birth of his first child. But it just is something that just makes sense. And it does go a lot deeper because I don't think a lot of people know of the actual history between Brody and Darby Allin. And also Darby Allin being the one to convince Brody to come to AEW. So this is where the match really starts to get interesting. And seeing them go at it, and I can't believe Darby Allin had an actual rock that hit Brody King's hand and it actually bled. So we know this match is really going to cook. But be on the lookout for the rest of the members of the House of Black, because I have a feeling they may be lurking around either possibly after their match. So be on the lookout for the House of Black. I would not be shocked if they try to say a few words in even on Rampage before the match. But those clips showed that this match makes sense and it wasn't just thrown so Darby could do something in his home state. That is very true. As I mentioned, I mean, it makes sense because they met before. So this makes a lot of sense. And also this is Darby in his home state. So I know Brody and Darby are really going to deliver a really good match. Then after that, we got to see Lance Archer and Jake the Snake Roberts and, Don Callis. This is really interesting because it looks like Lance Archer is going to join the Don Callis family. So I'm going to talk about Will Ospreay later, but this is interesting because there is several members within the Don Callis family, but also you have to think about it because we haven't seen Powerhouse Hobbs in a while because I know he's returning from injury. And then, of course, you have the situation between Will Ospreay and Takeshka. So it's going to be interesting how Lance Archer is going to fit in all this. Yes, he does have the physique, he does have the presence, but it would be good to have a manager by his side to kind of be his mouthpiece. So I'm intrigued on how that's going to work. So that's going to be somewhere down the line. We also got to see a match. We got to see Commander versus Hologram in his AEW Dynamite debut, two of the top luchadors, and their match was insane. They both delivered. They had crazy maneuvers, high flying tactics, and just seeing them explode, the chemistry that they have is just so incredible. But of course, Hologram picked up the victory and he keeps his undefeated streak alive. And I also have a question for a lot of people. Do you think Hologram should be in line for a title opportunity within AEW?
Hey, Larry.
If I wanted to say that if I had to pick which title, if I had to pick a title on which Hologram can do it,
Well, can you text him and tell him you'll take him? He'll be at the house.
If I had to pick,
So mean.
if I had to pick between which title holder, that would be good.
Larry.
It would be the TNT Championship, because I just have this feeling Hologram is destined to have that title opportunity. So we'll find out somewhere down the line. But I smell title opportunity for Hologram. Also, we got to see Daniel Garcia return for the first time since we got to see Daniel Garcia.
Good night.
We got to see Daniel Garcia return for the first time since All Out. And I have to say, he looks better than ever. And he says he's willing to stay in AEW. He's ready for any challenge to come in and take his place. So I'm happy to see Daniel Garcia back. I'm happy to see he's ready to go. I'm also happy to see what challenges he's going to face, but he's eager, he's hungry, he's ready. I don't know what title avenue he's going to go with. He could go with the TNT Championship. He could go with the AEW International Championship. There's so many avenues that he could do, but I wouldn't mind seeing him have a feud with Jack Perry, because there's a lot of people that I think would be beneficial for Jack Perry. So we shall see what happens with that. And also, it's so good to see Daniel Garcia back, and excited what he's going to do next in the next couple weeks. We also got to hear news that Swerve Strickland is making his return to his hometown this Saturday at WrestleDream, which I'm not surprised, because it would be a mistake if he didn't return to his hometown. So we get to see Mr. Swerve Strickland and hear what he has to say, because MVP has been warning him, but I don't want them to break up Swerve and Donna. I just think it's too soon, because they just work so well together, and I'm hoping that bond doesn't go away. So I'm hoping that they still stick it out, but also hearing what MVP and Shelton Benjamin have to say, this is going to be fun. Hi, Hassan. Thank you for joining the post show, but it's going to be something. And also, I forgot to mention during Commander and Hologram that Roosh, the Beast Mortos, and Luchador came out and attacked Hologram, and it looks like they're going to be managed by Jake the Snake Roberts. So that's another angle that I'm curious about. And another match that we got to see is the fatal 4-way match between Willow Nightingale, Jamie Hager, Saraya, and Nyla Rose, and the winner would face off against Mariah May for the AEW Women's Championship this Saturday at WrestleDream. And I will say that was a really solid match by all 4 women. They both showed up, And also, I did not know it was no disqualifications in the Fatal 4-Way match because I kept thinking, why is Harley Cameron getting involved and sticking her nose where it didn't belong? And the ref didn't ring the bell. But then it dawned on me. That was crazy. I saw you on NXT on CEW Richmond Network Channel and Go Home Special AEW. Oh, thank you, Hassan. And I hope your mom had a wonderful birthday last night. But going back to the Fatal 4-Way match, I was very dumbfounded because I didn't think it was no disqualification. But those 4 ladies brought it. And then, of course, we got to hear Mariah May do commentary and see the match through. And I will say, Harley stood tall. I mean, it was kind of funny to see Harley Cameron. And even though she stuck her nose where it didn't belong, it was kind of nice for her to get a beating. We also got to see Penelope Ford for the first time in a while attack Jamie Hager. And I'm like, Jamie's being attacked here and left from Saraya to Harley to Penelope. And it's like 3-on-1. That is so way off. So I think Jamie needs to get herself some alliance going on because she can't do all this by herself. And I kept thinking of Hikaru Shida because, they did have a slight mutual respect for each other when Shida faced off against Harley. I want to say Harley Cameron, but it might have been Saraya that she faced off against. But Shida, I would love to see Jamie Hager and Shida create an alliance together. So, but that's somewhere down the line. And your winner is Willow Nightingale. Now, at first, we did see Mariah give a headbutt to Willow Nightingale, and it locked her off unconscious. But another half hour later, Mariah May was trying to give an interview, and Willow Nightingale pounced on her, and she had a few words to say. To Miss Mariah May, and she is gunning for that AEW Women's World Championship match. So those two are definitely deliver, and I am so proud to see Willow shining her own light and getting that title opportunity because it's been a long time coming. She's a former TBS champion, and she is bound to be women's champion sooner than you think. Also, we get to see an appearance from the Learning Tree where they tried to intimidate Rocky Romero, and also right before Chris Jericho's match against Mark Briscoe for the Ring of Honor World Championship match. And then we got to hear from Mark Briscoe, and he had a few words to say about his brother, but his face is serious. Don't ever mention his brother, because when he is serious, it is go time. And I believe their match is going to deliver and be a solid match. I know a lot of people are saying, like, oh, it's Chris Jericho, the Learning Tree, blah, blah, blah. But I think these guys are going to deliver. And this is going to be something that really is going to be a solid match by these two. And the question is, will Chris Jericho be a 2-time Ring of Honor champion? But we'll find out this Saturday, and I'll be giving my predictions soon, right before the pay-per-view. So be on the lookout for my posts on social. We also got to hear from Private Party. It makes me happy to see Private Party back in the tag team titles again. I know when they first started, they did beat the Young Bucks in the second episode of Dynamite. Of course, Quinn had injury problems, and that kind of derailed their momentum a bit. And then, of course, we saw Stokely Hathaway, because if you remember, they were part of the firm with Ethan Page, Matt Hardy, and I believe MJF was part of that firm, along with Wardlow. But Stokely, since they're now successful again, Stokely wants to be a part of that, and Private Party didn't forget what Stokely did to them last time, and he declined it. So that's good for them, because who wants to work for that weasel, Stokely? Who wants to work for him? But, I am so proud of Private Party and really getting them in the tag team title picture and really building that momentum, because a lot of times people think they're slouches, but they tend to forget they do have some wins. They do have a case there. And they got something to prove. They did beat the Young Bucks. I mean, they did beat the Young Bucks twice. And also, if you think about it, during the Young Bucks title reign, there's only been 2 teams that have beaten them clean during that reign. It's Private Party and the Acclaimed. So I would love to see Private Party get a first taste of gold, but only time will tell. But I'm just so excited to see them back in the title picture. And I really want this rivalry to keep going. Of course, you also have another tag team on deck, the Acclaimed, but I know they're working with MXM, but I do see the Acclaimed somewhere down the line getting tag team gold. And I said to myself, if the Acclaimed's not going, if the Acclaimed doesn't get the title shot, which I think they should, I'm okay with Private Party. I have nothing against Private Party. And yay, just so nice to see them back in the fray. So that's the tag team titles. We also got to see Jay White back, his first match returning. And he looked like he didn't miss a beat. And it was funny seeing Juice Robinson at ringside. So, of course, he did what he did best. And Jay White, he put the challenge out to Hangman Adam Page. And it's official. It'll be Hangman versus Jay White this Saturday at Wrestle Dream. And that match is going to be really good. So Jay White put a call out not just to Hangman, but also he put a call out to Christian Cage, which that'll happen somewhere down the line. So he has 2 people that he has eyes for. So that match is going to be good. And I'm excited to see that. Juice is a character in a good way. He did that dog. I know, right? Juice, he's a one-of-a-kind human being, and you can't go wrong with Mr. Juice. Can't go wrong with that, Mr. Juice. And then, of course, we got to hear from Hook, because if you recall last week, somebody attacked his father, Taz. So we don't know who did it. And he had a good stare down with Christian, and it looked like Christian felt sorry for him, but I don't know what that jerk has in store, Christian. So hopefully we find out who did it, and we may find out at Wrestle Dream this weekend. If not, we may find out on Dynamite next week. So only time will tell, and I know Hook's is already on the case trying to find out who did it to his father. Then we got to see not just Daniel Garcia and Private Party, but we got to hear from Will Ospreay. And ironically enough, I kind of said this a couple weeks ago. Like, I had a feeling that somebody within the Don Callis family is going to turn on Will Ospreay sooner than later. So Will Ospreay, he does his promo. He calls out Don Callis. Don Callis comes out. And of course, Don Callis is doing what he does best, trying to make the question not revolved around him, where he did tell Takeshita to come out during his match versus Ricochet last week. And Will Ospreay kind of knew exactly what Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, even John Moxley at one point said Don Callis is a creep and a scumbag. And he found out firsthand, and Don Callis slapped him in the face. Well, Ospreay tried to beat the crap out of him, but Takeshita came out, and then Kyle Fletcher tried to stop it. And of course, Don Callis took out his signature tool, the screwdriver, because that's what he did to Kenny Omega. And he tried to get Kyle Fletcher to help Will Ospreay, and he wasn't going to do that. And Takeshita tried to give a punch in, but thankfully Ricochet came in. And I will say that triple threat match is going to be on fire. All 3 of them are going to deliver. Who wins? Well, you're just going to have to find out in my predictions. But those 3 are going to deliver. And I didn't appreciate Don Callis slapping Will Ospreay in the face, because what was he thinking? So I hope one day somebody beats the crap out of Don Callis, because he deserves a good beating and punching in the face. So that was a promo between Don Callis and Will Ospreay. We also got to see our CEO, TBS champion, and New Japan Strong champion Mercedes Moné taking on Emmy, and I hope I don't butcher her last name, Sakura? That's her name, because she had both belts defended on the line. And I will tell you something. Mercedes is good in the ring, and she talks a lot of game. But it looked like Emmy had the upper hand on Mercedes, if you saw the match, because I know Mercedes likes to get a little too overconfident and everything else, but it looks like Emmy almost had her number. And she also took out the brick house as well. So I do see future goals for Emmy somewhere down the line, especially for that New Japan Strong Women's Championship. But that match really delivered, and I liked it. It was really nice to see. But of course, the CEO retained both belts, which should be possible. And then she tried to take out, her and Camille tried to take out Emmy. But Chris Statlander came out, and I will tell you something. It was the first time that Mercedes felt intimidated, because I don't think you've ever seen a woman pile handle Camille. And I think it was the first time Mercedes felt nervous. And as she should be, because as I mentioned, you don't want to mess with Chris Statlander. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, take a look at the match she had with Jade Cargill when she won the TBS championship, and I'll explain. That will explain everything. So Chris Statlander is no joke, and she could go toe-to-toe with Camille, because if she beats Camille, you better watch out, Mercedes. And also, for the record, she's a former TBS champion too, so she knows exactly how to handle that belt. And plus, Mercedes is bound to lose a match anyway. I don't know to who, but she is bound to lose a match somewhere down the line. So I'm excited to see that storyline develop, and Chris Statlander is somebody you don't want to mess with. So we covered all this, and I'm thinking, what else am I missing? Oh, we got to hear from Top Flight. Of course, they were bummed out with their loss last week on Collision, but it looks like there was tension still between them and Action Andrade. I just have this feeling Action Andrade is going to turn heel, and maybe it's time for him to be on his own a bit and let Top Flight be a tag team. I know Leo Rush has been supportive of everybody, but let's see what he has to say. So it's soon to be developed in the making, and we shall see what happens with Top Flight, because I do think they are a talented tag team, Dante and Darius, and we'll see what that happens with Action Andrade. And I'm trying to think, did I cover everything? Let me see. And now we get to our main event. We get to our main event between Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta taking on Pac and Claudio Castagnoli, which is the final go-home match before WrestleDream. And I will say, it was nice to hear the final countdown in his entrance. And I hope he does use it when he wrestles at WrestleDream this weekend, because I can imagine the hometown crowd going crazy for that match. And also, it was a nice way to continue the rivalry between Moxley and Daniel Bryan, because we did see Jon Moxley and Marina Shafir be at ringside trying to intimidate Danielson. But throughout that match, and it was so nice to see Wheeler Yuta be in the main event spot and also being supportive of Bryan Danielson, because I feel like Bryan Danielson has a bigger target on his back versus Moxley and his crew. Then it was Nigel McGuinness. who else has a bigger target than Bryan Danielson? Even though he is a champion, it's a bigger target on his back. And also, I would not be shocked if he had some reinforcements because Moxley has made a mock of some people within that roster, and it's gonna backfire him sooner than later. And also, there are a couple ladies that I think that could take on Marina Shafir because she thinks she can rough with the guys. I don't think she wants to rough with anybody from the AEW women's division, but that's another thing coming. But overall, for my rating, and we talked about this a lot on WWT Live. Let's see. I can't see Brian retiring full time outside. Yeah, I just can't see it considering that's his hometown crowd in Washington. I just can't see that happening. And plus, like I said, he's gonna get reinforcements because I'm pretty sure every single person in that back is not scared of Moxley. I don't think so. And also, I'm just curious what they're gonna do with the trios because considering like you have Wheeler and Claudio and Pac like conflicting with each other, it just like I don't know. But I did say in my watch along that if I had to pick a trio that could go against them, it's House of Black. I have a feeling House of Black, and I know Brody, he has a match with Darby, but who better to intimidate them than House of Black? And that would be crazy. And I wouldn't mind seeing them be trio champion. So that's somewhere down the line, and be on the lookout because I feel like Bryan Danielson's going to get some reinforcements soon. Now, going back to this for this episode, I'm going to give this episode a 7 out of 10 only because when they said the name Title Tuesday, you have to think at least they should have 3 to 4 title matches right before Wrestle Dream. And I understand there are some matches that are already set for Saturday, but they could have at least put on some matches that are not on the card for Wrestle Dream. They could have at least put them on the line. Like, for example, they could have put the Trios title on the line. They could have at least put on the Trios belt, maybe the TNT Championship belt. There's just so many avenues to look at it and stuff. And you only had one title defense during Title Tuesday. So I do give this episode rating a 7 out of 10. There were some good matches, but if it's named Title Tuesday, there should at least be more than one title match defended. Or better yet, you could have at least had utilized that partnership with New Japan and have one of them defend it on Title Tuesday. And that would have definitely been a good draw going home right before Wrestle Dream. But only time will tell. And also, there was a few matches that were added to Wrestle Dream. So, of course, we have Darby Allin versus Brody King, Hangman versus Jay White, Shibata versus Jack Perry for the TNT Championship because Shibata had a few words to say to Jack Perry. So that's going to be a really good match. Of course, we have Willow Nightingale versus Mariah May for the AEW Women's Championship. We also have Private Party taking on the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team titles. So awesome to see Private Party back in the title picture. We have the triple threat match for the AEW International Championship. It'll be Will Ospreay versus Ricochet versus Konosuke Takeshita. We also have Chris Jericho facing off against Mark Briscoe for the Ring of Honor World Championship. And then, of course, we have our main event. Actually, no, but right before our main event, Swerve Strickland's coming back this weekend in his hometown. So that's going to be epic. But we also have the main event. Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Now, who's going to win? Well, you're just going to have to find out on my predictions because I will be posting my predictions right before the pay-per-view starts this weekend. So my rating for this episode is a 7 out of 10, which is slightly fair, but it's just really hard, and especially because you were battling NXT on Tuesday, you could have at least drawn a little bit further. And also, like I said, if it's Title Tuesday, there should have been at least 2-3 more titles on the line. And that would have really leveled up and anticipate people being on the road to Wrestle Dream. So that's something to really think about somewhere down the line if they ever do Title Tuesday again. Try to get at least more than one title belt defended. That's the only suggestion. And also really continue building some of the storyline, because storylines is there. It's just stability of it and making sure it doesn't shift from year to year. But I give it a 7 out of 10. It was a solid episode of Dynamite. The final one right before Wrestle Dream this weekend. Just a friendly reminder, there is no Collision this week. It's just Rampage. And you will see Rampage this Friday at 10 o'clock. So once you're done SmackDown, you can shift over and watch Rampage. So I'm getting ready to wrap up my post show, and this is much what I have to say. As I mentioned, thank you guys so much for joining on this special edition of AEW Dynamite, where we got to run through last night's episode of Title Tuesday and get you ready for Wrestle Dream. If you would like to follow me, you can catch me here on WWT Live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Wednesday night is all Elite Dynamite, where every Wednesday I'll be doing my weekly watch along of AEW Dynamite. And also this Saturday, I'll be doing a watch along for Wrestle Dream this weekend at 8 o'clock. So feel free to join me there, where I'll give you the quick rundown. It's going to be a good, fun pay-per-view back in the Pacific Northwest. You could also follow me on Twitter and Instagram on @CourtneyNJ11, where I have all my latest adventures. I haven't posted any content, but I will be posting content soon, sharing the latest adventures that I have. So thank you guys again for joining tonight. It has been a fun time. And also thank you to Bosa, Hassan for joining in the chats. And also I will see you guys next week. Well, actually, not next week. I will see you guys this Saturday when I do my watch along for Wrestle Dream. But feel free to come out, get comfortable. It's going to be a fun pay-per-view. And also 2 more pay-per-views left for the year for AEW. 2 more pay-per-views. Because after Wrestle Dream, they're back in the Garden State. And I can't wait for that. So feel free to check out this watch along. Thank you for joining me. Hope you guys have a nice evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. And see you guys soon. Peace.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at wwtalkpod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at wwtalkpod.com. Thanks for watching.